Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So if you remember, my last feature like this was about performances across a whole album by Guitarist. So what I thought I'd do now is introduce some other players as well, some we previously mentioned. Let's do complete song performances where the guitarist, again, it's just got a great song, it's got great rhythm parts, clean, whatever, and of course an immense solo, immense rhythm guitar sound, and so on. You're just like, that is great. Okay, so I will pick my favourite, what I think where I'm like, actually, bloody hell, and it'll surprise you actually. But I'll go through some songs. I've got about 17 here. Let's start off with a couple of Aussie. And I'm going to start with J.K. Lee, Bark at the Moon. Rock and Roll Rebels close as well. Okay, I'm not totally as keen on the rhythm guitar sound on this, but the rhythm parts are fantastic. And Jake deserves credit for this. He does a really fantastic rhythm parts on this that are really exciting. The song's really good. It's an Aussie classic. And of course, he's got that great middle solo that's absolutely announces him really on the guitar stage. And at the end, he's got that great lead part as well. And I think he deserves to be in here. I still think he's better live than he was on record. But Jake, thank you very much. And of course, we'll have another Aussie guitarist, and that's Randy Rhoads. I'm going to go with Diary of a Madman. I'm not a massive Randy Rhoads fan, but I always go to people, you've got to hear this track. I mean, he's got that beautiful intro with the acoustic track with maybe nylon string or clean. You've got that gothic rhythm part. Amazing chord changes, time signatures, that big bit at the end, you know, which he's probably clearly had a bit of influence on. That beautiful middle section where it breaks down, it's just so beautiful. Probably the one guitarist on here who's, you know, it's really a lot as much for the clean and acoustics as it is for riffing. And then the solo I love on this is just really spooky and gothic. It's you know, it's not got the spectacle of something like Over the Mountain, which is probably my favourite solo by him, but it's just really good. It just fits the mood of the song. Quite extraordinary piece of work. Okay, next I want to include this guy, and he rarely puts a foot wrong because he's very much the visionary. It's Michael Romeo of Symphony X. Sea of Lies would have been a top choice on this. It's got that amazing tapping, but I'm going to go for the title track of the Iconoclast album from 2011. This has got great riffing that you always get from Romeo. He's got such a unique tone as well with his rhythm sound, because it's almost, when you listen to it, it's almost not that great, but when he plays it, it works. And the solo on this is funny because it kind of got this, Michael Romeo does the same things often on solos. He'll go into some harmonic minor, like Yngwie, maybe do something bluesy, and he always do some string skipping arpeggios, and usually if he's in the Phrygian dominant mode, he'll do diminished sevens. But what he does with this is, does one of his stock diminished seven tapping licks, but he uses the whammy pedal at the end to split the octave and go up high, and it kind of makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh out loud when I hear it because it's so audacious, it's so bold. It's just kind of really funny and excessive in a way. And you just have to hand it to the guy for kind of putting a cool twist on what he normally does, and you just have to go, fucking hell, that is immense shredding soloing. So brilliant. We've got to have EVH in there. There's numerous EVH songs you could pick from across the great man's work, but I think this one is the one that really takes the top place. It won't surprise you, it's I'm the One from Van Halen 1. Incredible riff, incredible fills on this, and a solo that still stuns, and lead guitar and rhythm parts that still kind of almost flummox guitarists to this day. I think you do get some good takedown of this, but it's just absolutely brilliant what he does across his track. And this would be right up there. This was almost going to be me kind of, oh, that's, you know, the most complete song performance I can think of. Next, I'm going to have Doug Aldridge in there, a bit of Dio. Rainbow in the Dark, Vivian Campbell would be a good choice for Vivian Campbell, but I love Viv, but not as much as Doug. But Killing the Dragon, the title track of Ronnie James Dio's 2002 album. I think Doug came in quite late on this, but the riffing on this is just really good. But the rhythm guitar sound is amongst the very best that the Naughties has to offer. With probably a Marshall with a Strat through it with his humbucking pickup, not a Les Paul. He was using a Strat and Dio principally. Really cool, just really tight, but with a nice bite. He's grabbing those notes, so well tracked. Really love the chorus part. And then, of course, the solo is just one of Doug's very best. Absolutely brilliant solo. Again, big break for Doug, really, to reach a wider audience, pardon me. And he completely announced himself with this at the age of 38, 37. He'd been around a while. Love the solo and the performance. Next, gotta have George Lynch. On my previous article, I mentioned the Under Lock and Key album, and my top performance on that is The Hunter. Probably my favourite solo of all time. Love the opening chord during that G5. He slides down to the C sus4, which Andy Summers uses in the middle section of Every Breath You Take. Just a really cool bit of whammy vibrato. Dun, dun, da, 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 now, really tight rhythm playing on this. Really nice. Love how he bites those, gets the bite on those single notes. Lovely fills on this at the end and in the start and in the middle. Really tastefully done. Of course, that solo is just perfectly melodically constructed. It's almost like he's trading off with himself. Probably a bit of comp in there, but it works really well. Gets his sliding vibrato in, which sounds like a whammy. Amazing. Michael Schenker, so I picked Obsession as his complete guitar performance across an album. But from Lights Out, I'm going for Love to Love. I think this is quintessential Schenker. You've got that brilliant harmonised intro, which he'd actually done on a 2-track machine, I think. Reel to Reel, and Ron Everson flew it in off that, or the engineer did. He's got that great opening with our time signature with the thirds. He's got the lovely acoustic guitar playing in 3/4 time throughout. Beautiful, really tasteful singing guitar solo in the middle. It's so basic, but really beautiful. And of course, that brilliant climatic shred out at the end with the top arpeggios, and the classic high bends and the gothic, bluesy bend he always does down at the fifth. Just a complete performance. I would kind of compare this almost to like Randy Rhoads' in Diary of a Madman. He's kind of across the board. It's very, very impressive. I mentioned this song album in the past when it's Out of This World was Key Marcello was a choice of a complete album performance, and I'm going to pick Superstitious. I think this is still the go-to Key solo. It's his most famous solo. I think what makes it stand out, it's in a major key. There's very few rock solos that are in pure major key, and it's in F major. He does a brilliant job on this, and it's just the way the melody builds. It's got that amazing alternate pick run where he does sort of unique note groupings. He gets a lovely neck pickup tone, which a lot of people just kind of fail to play on the neck pickup. If you're going to play on the neck pickup, you've got to have a strong vibrato and strong tone, or you'll sound like a cow, as Ozzy says. Really cool grunty rhythm part on this. There's that lovely fill. Cool rhythm part. Puts it all together and really announced himself to me at the time. Next up, really pleased to put this guitarist in. Couldn't pick a whole album. And I was going to go with Bad Boys Running Wild. I was talking about Matthias Jabs, of course, here, the Scorpions. Which is a great solo and great performance, but although I prefer the solo on Bad Boys Running Wild, I think across a whole track you have to go with Blackout. This is such a clever performance by Matthias. I think it's Jeff Waters of Annihilator that said he's kind of doing a complete solo all the way through. And if you listen, Rudy plays, the sort of block chords, keeps it tight, and Matthias is kind of riffing but kind of doing lead work, bow, 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 sort of thing. He's doing double stops. He's putting fills in on the one track, a la Van Halen, Jimmy Van Halen. And then he produces a ripping solo with a classic sort of pentatonic lick, but a cool kind of stretchy lick. And then he does something that he does where he puts in the minor second with a pentatonic and blues. Sort of a Randy Rhoads type of thing as well. And he just puts that little spin on it. Really cool. And a really interesting way to approach being, in a 2-guitar team, what the Scorpions did. Kind of kind of copied that more. You know, they were like, yeah, let's put some different parts in versions here. A lot of bands just, you know, they'll just track the same things like Priest and maybe do harmonies, but Scorpion's Rat really did something interesting, but love what Matthias does on this track. Okay, so I picked Yngwie Malmsteen's Trilogy as my, you know, complete album performance. And again, I've got to go with this album, and I think this track really has a cool rhythm guitar sound. It has a great riff, and the solo is just fucking ludicrous and it's fire. I think it's open side too. You got that great riff with the inversions, which uses modal interchange on it. That means he's kind of got the stock pitch of E, but he's changing modes within E. Mixolydian into his kind of Phrygian when he goes down to the F inversion. And then you've got the immense solo. Whenever I hear that solo, I almost feel like getting out of baton and conducting. Like, just fucking insane. You got insane fills. You got that great open string tapping lick, and he does a little Van Halen from the pentatonic major. Fucking love this, and I think it's a great song. Fire, it's good. It's cheesy, but Malmsteen wrote some really good songs. So I really wanted to obviously include a Royal Attack Crow, and I did discuss the Intuition album, and I think Caught Between the Tigers would have been a really good pick here. But I'm going to pick one off Tell No Tales, because that very nearly came close to the last one. And it's the track Desperate Night. Not the most well-known track off the Tell No Tales album, but he does a great riffing on this with great single note work. He does some lovely kind of pinched low harmonics which predate Zakk Wylde. I think Zakk Wylde probably nicked that off him. He's got a top whammy, wah-wah kind of lick he does, wow, wow, in the choruses. And two interesting solos on this. He does like a really weird solo with his picking in the middle, and then it just goes into a kind of happy pentatonic bit. And then at the end, he just comes in with a cool wah-wah solo, which is just deep sort of bluesy pentatonic playing, where he just brings out some stock cliches, but it's just really exciting. And it's such a short and punchy song. It's 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, just brilliant. Next choice, glad to put this player in. I first heard this on a flexi disc way back in 1990. It's Laughing Stacks by Michael Lee Firkins. This is a great announcement track. It's the first track off his solo album, Michael Lee Firkins. It's instrumental. Such a great rhythm part on this. For a Shrapnel album, this was so well recorded with a really cool tone on it, I think. His lead playing's great on this. His melodies, his mimicking of slide guitar with his whammy bar using his pinky finger, a la Jeff Beck, is great. He's a great solo, it breaks down, and then he builds up some top kind of slippery arpeggios. I just think this is great. It's just at the time when guitar instrumental stuff could be seen to be stale, this was generally exciting. Next up, glad to get this guy in. He nearly made it on the last one. It's Akira Takasaki, Ashes in the Sky, off the Lightning Strikes album. So this track is so good. It starts off with this kind of clean tapping thing that has an almost Japanese pentatonic flavour to it. Really coolly brought it in, and I think genuinely different, doing something different. You know, Kira, people kind of accused him of being, you know, ripping off Randy or Jake or Eddie Van Halen. Like, yeah, you can hear those things, but you know, the guy's from Japan. You know, it's not a world leader in heavy metal. This guy needs some respect. Then you get that great clean bit, and then with those stabs and that great production technique with a phasing delay on the rhythm guitar by Max Norman. Then the riff's just so good, using the dyads, you know, quite gothic, bringing in the sort of harmonic minor tonality, really nice clean bits, brilliant lead break. He gets that lead break before the first verse comes in, you got the brilliant middle lead break, and then great solo at the end with a great dive bombs. He just really puts it together. He definitely deserves to be on this list. Thank you, Akira. Maximum Security, Tony McAlpine made the last cut. I've got to pick a track by him. Tears of Sahara was really close to this. A lovely clean work on that beautiful Lynch solo. But this is about Tony. And Lynch has had his appearance. I'm going to go with The Time of the Test. I mean, this is just fucking immense. Immense melody, fast and furious. The fucking solo in the middle, and those arpeggios where he's almost stretching them. You know, he's almost, you know. I love it. It's like he's just doing that. Brilliant performance. Yeah, great. Couple of sort of not odd ones out, but really nice to get his guitarist in. I'm a Believer by Giant, Dan Huff. This is great. I mean, he starts off with that cool unaccompanied solo where he goes, yeah, check this out. I'm not just some session guy. Really cool song, so well produced, and Dan Huff, obviously with his studio expertise, would have had a big part in crafting this with that kind of cool kind of edge infused stuff. Beautiful guitar sounds, and two amazing solos. The middle solo's great, he gets that high whammy in, and he does these great runs. But I love the solo at the end. He just brings it, starts with a few licks, he does a and he does a great fade out solo, and of course a really good song, and just to fucking annoy us, he gives a brilliant vocal performance as well. What a twat. Dan Huff, how dare you be this multi-hyphenate musician. Brilliant. And then, love to get this guy in, one of the greats of all time, it's Gary Moore. And yeah, I'm going for an 80s one. It's Murder in the Skies off the Victims of the Future album. Other people would maybe pick stuff like Corridors of Power. But this is great. I think it's probably his Strat, his pink Strat plugged into a Marshall with a Boss distortion. It's properly gnarly sound. He starts with his unaccompanied solo, which he'd done before numerous on, White Knuckles and on, I forget if is it Dirty Fingers, can't remember. But I love this. He properly does some hairy shit on it. Then the riffing's mighty on this. It's almost like an I Don't Know type of riff, but with a gallop. Really cool song. And I like the lyrics on this. He's talking about the shooting down of the North Koreans airline, I think it was, or South Korean, by the Russians back in the early 80s. And yeah, really good course. His solo in the middle of this is just fucking immense. He just comes in, he does his open string stuff, then he does his classic major 7 lick, but I think it's the best he ever used it. He does it, moves it down chromatically, and he kind of, and then he just once and he moves up, and then he just goes all out at the end, and he's got crazy whammies, and it goes all fucking Hendrix crazy at the end. Really love it. So I've picked 16 there. So what is my most complete performance? And I'm going to go for this track, and it's John Sykes' Still of the Night. And think about this, that rhythm guitar sound is just something else. It's not a rhythm guitar sound I would go for other people, but I think it's like a feral pit bull dog that he's tamed. How he got it, I believe, was using a pitch shift just to tune down a bit. Is the guitar triple tracked? Is it quadruple tracked? I'm not sure. But it uses tuning down maybe a cent one side and then another cent another. So it's kind of got this chorusing effect, but not quite. But it just makes it sound huge. It's just properly gnarly. It's like, it feels like it's got more gain than there's ever been on a guitar sound. The pinch harmonic's amazing. The riff is great. It's a great spin on the Black Dog. Really good. That staccato octave gets the bow, the great parts. Then you break down to the middle section where he does lovely clean and harmonic work. I wonder, has he come up with a string part? Quite possibly. It's fucking brilliant. And then he goes into that progression where, again, he uses modal interchange, down, with those inversions, switching to the F Lydian sound, and then the second pass it resolves to the E major chord. And then the solo's so cool on this, he comes in the whammy bar, he does that blistering run up, I think the solo lasts 15 seconds or something, and it's so disciplined. I mean, there's a lot of long solos on the album, and he just peels off this fucking immense solo that's just so exciting, and then it's great at the end. I just think, that is just so exciting all the way through the track. It's worth listening to the remix of this track that I covered on it recently, where it just kind of, the drums are better and everything, and it just makes Sykes sound all the better. Okay, that's my choice of complete guitar performances across individual songs. Remember, share and subscribe. Put yours in the comments. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.